Yo, 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 YouTube. Welcome back to live. Charlie, that's cute, but I got a new friend. You want to see him?
Another new friend?
Yeah, you ready?
What do you got? Oh, look at that. He's even got bells on.
He's ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yeah, that's my new friend. I got him for my birthday from a friend.
I see.
Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. He doesn't have a name yet, though. So maybe our loyal viewers could come up with a name for our
There you
plush
go.
screaming goat. I think that would be fun.
I think they'd be good at that. Will it be
I agree.
YouTube appropriate though?
Well, it has to be.
Well, now you're putting all these rules on it.
Well, we can moderate it, I mean, there's a solution for everything. Yeah, so my screaming little plushy goat, he needs a name.
Screaming plushy goat.
That's what it
SPG.
is. Well, I don't think that's a good name, but it's a description of what it is. Yeah. So, all right. Well, welcome back, everybody. If you're joining us live, thank you. Please participate in the chat. Makes it a lot more fun. If you're watching this recorded, try to join us live so you can be a part of the video. Every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time. Myself, Charlie, couple of plushy goats, couple plastic goats, some Christmas goats. I mean, you never know what's going to show up at this point. So
You're getting goaty.
you don't want to miss out.
We're getting goaty.
We're getting goaty, yes. I mean, maybe that's a good name for him. Goatee.
Goatee.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we can collect some ideas. So we had we're a little looser this week on our show than some of the structured stuff we'd been doing recently. We want to talk a little bit about women in the hobby, the increase of women in the hobby.
Ooh,
Kind of what that means. Yeah, something for the ladies. And then if we can get to it, if we don't get too sidetracked, you never know. We'd kind of like to talk about Topps releasing, or Fanatics, well, I guess both, releasing their first licensed NBA product this week. So I'm hoping maybe some of you have opened some of it or have some feedback about it. I've seen a few cards. I saw the Topps post on the first card printed, the Jason Tatum base. And I mean, the cards look nice. It looks like Topps, right? I mean, I didn't think it was too far outside their box, which is probably good, especially in the first set. It's kind of just a preface, right? I mean, I think most people are really waiting for the Topps Chrome, which is basically going to be replacing Prism in the future as sort of the standard, right? The standard, everybody wants it, grades it, collects it type rookie cards. But you said you looked at a little bit of it. Hey, saw some of the inserts and stuff, and they looked all right, like the King of Kings and
I don't believe
Kings or whatever.
I don't believe it's out to the masses yet. It's got a release date of October 23rd on their website. Yeah. For Hobby Jumbo and Value Boxes available on October 23rd. But the big breakers always get some early and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So what's interesting is Panini never shares print runs, right? Topps kind of does in a roundabout way. They don't say like there's 100,000 copies of this card, but you can sort of take the odds that they do disclose and math it out and kind of come out with, how many boxes or how many cases or whatever were out there. And I thought it was interesting because basically the math works out to being 85,000 cases.
Yeah.
Of this Topps product. And I think that's just the hobby boxes. So there's probably, a fair amount. Oh, you see did they have the numbers in there? I can't see that.
Well,
that's all tiny, Charlie.
I'm sorry you can't see that, but they do have the odds.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you calculate it. So you take the odds, you do some reverse math, and then you can come
There
up
you go.
with,
Move it up a little.
there it is. That's a little, yeah. So it's what, 81,000, 82,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of how it comes out. So I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on that. Is that overproduction? Is that the right is that the right number of product? Um, kind of being in the dark forever with Panini, it's a little bit hard to tell. And uh, you could always figure out baseball numbers, of course, because Tops have been doing baseball all along. But um, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where those numbers fall. And then like this is kind of our base, right? This is the first year they're doing this. What do they do next year? Do they do 90,000 cases? Do they do 72,000 cases? Where does it have to adjust from there? Because they're just kind of going to be feeling it out to some degree too. Um, I would imagine Topps basketball products will sell better than Panini basketball products, just by its nature. Um, Now I don't know if Panini is going to try to put out any unlicensed stuff, but I was looking at their release list, and they have a pretty solid. I don't know if you have that up, in your tabs there at all. I should have pulled that up. I didn't think of it until now. But
No.
they Panini's release calendar only has like 3 basketball products on it for the whole year. And their releases are technically last year's products, right? So it's 24, 25 stuff, which is why they can still do it. With license. But that's it. So my guess is they're just gonna kind of not make stuff. At least basketball. So we talked a little bit before the show started, and Charlie's like, "Who cares? It's basketball." And I don't disagree to some extent, but I feel like those of us that do a lot of football, which we both do for sure, this is something that we can at least kind of take a peek at and see what it's going to do to football, when the football market gets taken over by Fanatics next year. So it'll be interesting to see how it sells. What's the secondary market on pricing? How much printing was there? How is the quality control? How much gets graded? Um, quality autos, things like that. Exclusive contracts for autos. This will be fun to see how how it goes. Now, it should be a pretty good selling product. The rookie class, I guess, is pretty good. Cooper Flagg sort of being the star of that show. But a little bit of anticipated. Oh, I kind of like what's the one on the left with the orange? The number variations.
Yeah, player number variation. So there's number
Huh.
11 all over in the backdrop.
Yeah. Okay, I kind of like that. Yeah, the All Kings. That's sort of like the Aces set, right, for baseball.
Right. Right.
So what else is on there? Okay, what is that? Oh, the MVP vault. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
fun. And that might play into something they've been doing with baseball for years, where if you have a card of, the MVP at the end of the year, you can turn that in for some cash. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
they're going to do with these. I don't know. I would assume they'll be trying to do some things to entice buyers, since it is a new product, and their license is kicking off. They're going to want to get people involved. I know they've done unlicensed basketball products the last few years to sort of try to build a fan base. But this being the first license, I would imagine they're gonna throw a little bit extra at it. Have some prizes, some buybacks, something to get it
Right.
get it going. Now I did see, kind of tied to this, as we're trying to look at more mainstream and Tops being able to make more licensed products and stuff. Did you are you aware that the McDonald's Monopoly game's back out?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so it's been back out the past couple days. Up and have a couple little properties right here. So it's basically what it was, back in the day, right? So you got these little peel off tabs on certain food products,
Right.
and you can collect the properties. I mean, you all know how to play Monopoly, or you can get like instant win food and things like that. but there's like the second chance, role you can take when you're in the app and stuff like that. Well, one of the things they have on there that you can redeem is Fanatics products, percentages off ordering on the Fanatics website. And that includes cards. And I think it was 30% off a
Oh,
Fanatics order. So, which is pretty good. So I feel like that's kind of something they're going to use to get more of the quote unquote normals or the Main Street people interested in some of the sports product stuff. So
right.
yeah, I think it's I think it's good. We've been kind of waiting. I've been waiting for this. I know some people are like, "Oh, Fanatics is gonna screw it up and they're a monopoly." No, Panini sucks. So bye
Yeah, I'm
bye
glad to see
Panini.
it go back to Tops.
Bye bye. I have no loss for Panini. Customer service was trash. A lot of the products were bland and boring and repetitive, and they didn't do anything fun with any of it. You never heard them come out and talk about any of it. Quality control was okay for the most part, I think. Um, there were definitely some products that did better than others, but so did Tops. Tops has quality control at time issues at times too. But yeah, no love lost. I'm happy to see Tops products back. I think we're going to get um, better prices. Better collation, better autographs, things like that. Is something that we're going to see in the future. And the hobby kind of needs that. It's doing well. Obviously it had its big boom right before COVID. Kind of survived through that, on a high, then dropped a bunch the last couple of years. Now it's kind of on a high again. At least the goats, right? The Hall of Fames, the blue chip cards, have all seen a big boom in the last year or two. Um, so this is probably the right time to really try to boost it up and get some new people in, and because you can't grow a hobby like this without new people, new collectors, new buyers, new flippers, whatever it is, new breakers. Doesn't matter. You got to get more people in. You just
Very
don't
true.
have that many people involved yet. Uh, um, and it's funny because I was talking this morning about this is kind of my slowest time of year. Even though I do mostly football and baseball, it seems weird because it's like, oh, there's playoffs. You should be selling all kinds of baseball cards. But this is just not a big time of year where people spend money, right, on unnecessary things. They kind of sit back and mid-November hits and it's like, oh, I got to buy Christmas presents and all this other stuff. Secret Santa for the office. Bob likes cards. I'll get him a couple of cards. And then you kind of see that boost going through there, and then you get to the end of the year, and people start, looking at their tax returns coming, and they're spending that way, and then they actually get the
Right.
tax returns, and then that's spent. So you kind of do this like mid-November through what early April. Really is kind of like your biggest run of the year. It is for
Yeah.
me usually. And then I kind of have another bump in May. Like when you do the cycles of the sports, you have your little bumps from that. But as far as like mainstream shopping, so if they can get new mainstream people involved and make it a bigger gift opportunity and things like that, I think you could see a boost in single sales because of that as well.
Yeah, that actually reminds me, we haven't taken a look at the eBay calendar in a while. Remember we looked at that a few
Yeah,
times, and let me see if I can find that while we're talking here. I thought I had it bookmarked someplace, but I apparently do not. So I'm gonna have to find it again.
yeah, and that's since you're talking about eBay and what's going on there. Um, Keep in mind that now their holiday increase in price uh is in effect. So I had a bigger package I shipped out this morning, and yeah, it was up a few cents because of the new holiday pricing thing.
Was it?
Yep, they've done that the past few years. No, good news is stamps are not going up in January. We've already got confirmation of that, so that's nice. We can ride our current price for a while. Because a couple more price hikes and stamps, and I got to start looking at increasing, my base price again. Which you want to try to avoid that as long as you can, but you got to still make money. So, but Yeah, the last few years they've done a thing where like from this date in October through this date in December or January or whatever the heck it is. And it's packages. It's not the stamp price goes up, but like package prices go up a tiny bit to
Okay.
um try to cover, I guess, the increased traffic or the overtime they got to pay. I don't know, whatever their excuse is. We got to pay for it because that's how it works. When they increase prices, it's the people who use it that have to pay for it, right? That's yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think the Tops product will do well. I think that's a lot of production at 85,000 cases, um, but that might be in line. It's so hard when you don't have anything else to compare it to, right? You know, it sounds like a lot, but is it a lot? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much they've produced in the last few years of unlicensed. You know, like Composite and Chrome and Resurgence, and you know the other different kind of test site sets they were doing to prepare for licensed product. I would assume they're printing more licensed product than they did unlicensed product. Um, and then that's a topic of conversation too. So they only had like these 2 years of unlicensed products. Does that make those cards kind of desirable long term? Because you're gonna be like, hey, remember that year when they made these cards and there was no Lakers jersey on, logo
Well,
on the
like
jersey?
licensed LeBron cards now
Yeah,
with
right,
Topps,
exactly. But that's my point. There were some that weren't. Do those get kind of sought after? I don't know. Um, I had a kind of similar to that. I had a customer message me the other day about the helmet off, like, was it Score or Donruss? One of them did that parallel in football. Remember, it was during the COVID year.
Yeah.
So they did like a sort of like a variation photo for pretty much every card in the set, and they would have like the guy on the sidelines, and he would have the mask on or whatever. I had somebody message me, and they're like, "It's so weird to see these players with masks on," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, it wasn't at the time. Like that's
No.
what everybody was doing that." What's really weird was no people in the stands. That's weird.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So it's now there's like demand for that stuff. At the time it was just like, oh yeah, this is just a fun way to throw a subset of cards out there since we're in weird times and people are wearing masks on sidelines in football games. And let's put something out there to sort of commemorate that, or make that an image in the future, and there it is. We have it. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here. What other basketball products they make? Do they try brand new stuff? Do they just stick with like, okay, we got Flagship, we're going to do Chrome, we'll do Finest, because Finest was also huge um, for basketball cards, in the 90s, 2000s. Do they stick with that? And then that's what they kind of sell, and that's it? Or do they come out with 25 products like Panini tries to do and try to get every penny? Do they start a high end product now? Do they do like a Tops? I don't know what's the high end Tops. I can't even think of the name of it. I keep
Wallet?
wanting to say, is that
No.
Tops? That's Panini.
No. Yeah, that's
Um,
probably
I it's on the tip of my tongue. They did a Star Wars set of it, where it's a bunch of autographs and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so Inception, is it Inception?
I don't think that's the high end.
I don't remember. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they put out there. Now they also can't make Luka Doncic cards, so that's different. We'll see where that goes. Does that make Luka's stuff in the past more valuable? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird time right now for switching this over,
Yeah.
but I'm excited about it. It's about time. Like I said, bye bye Panini. Uh, we want to hear what everybody else thinks as well, but that's sort of my take on it. And I know I
Yeah.
always have to be right because my troll viewer says I always have to be right, and I'm sure he'll watch this and make a point of that, and that's fine.
I haven't seen him recently.
I don't know. He just randomly grabs one of my videos and then like watches the whole thing and posts like every couple minutes of whatever I'm doing. It's
Nice.
interesting. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all in good fun.
I
I
wasn't
do
able to
this.
find that calendar. That's gonna bug me now. Later on, I'm
Uh,
gonna have to look for that again and bookmark it.
yeah, we could throw that in the next show or something. So this that kind of segues me into the other thing I wanted to talk about, and that's more women coming into the hobby. I see more breaking. A lot of the like ads for Fanatics breaking and whatnot, and tops like highlight women breakers, which I thought was kind of interesting. Um, so we'll see how much. So I was kind of talking before about we need to bring more people in, and one a big angle to that is the female demographic. We don't have that many women involved in sports cards yet, but it does seem to be growing, and it seems like an area where they can kind of push a little bit, use the women that are currently involved and having a good time with it and making money or whatever the case may be,
Right.
and try to recruit some more transcendent. Thank you. Somebody just posted.
There
That's
you
what I was
go.
thinking of. Transcendent. Um, so so what do we think of that? Do we, I had messaged you. This kind of all stemmed from I messaged you and I said, does it seem like you're getting more orders from women? Because I feel like I'm addressing more and more package to, I guess I don't technically know if they're women, but they're female names, traditionally female names that I'm sending them to. Um, but you made a good point. You said, well, I just assume it's like moms of Johnny, who doesn't have an eBay account. Mom buys it and
Right.
Johnny gives her the money or whatever. And I'm sure there's some of that too. But more and more I'm seeing where it's the package is even addressed to the female name and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like there's a boost in it. I'm seeing more interviews on different YouTube channels with female breakers, and Mama Breaks is a pretty big name now. She's been breaking for a long time, does a good job. And they have a real passion for the hobby. They enjoy it. They're not there just to get content or because men watch. It's easier for a woman to put something out and get attention. It doesn't seem like it's any of that. At least not what I've seen. It
Yeah.
seems like they're truly into it and they're like, yeah, come on out, get some Pokemon, get some. I love Star Wars. I know there's like 3 or 4 breakers at Cards HQ now that are women. That are regularly doing their whatnot shows and stuff like that. So I think it's cool. I think it's gonna really help. I think if couples can be into cards, that's helpful in a lot of cases versus, why are you paying this much for this piece of cardboard? It's getting more respected as art, an investment vehicle. All those types of things have been happening over the past few years too. But um, yeah, I don't know. So what's your thoughts on that? I've been talking a lot. You talk now. I'm done.
Yeah, women in the hobby is an interesting topic to me. I it does stand out to me when I get a female name on a label, or even on the show. Sparkle Sports Cards. Susie
Yeah,
joins us sometimes. I think
right.
she might be the only female viewer that we have, at least that we know of. But I did a little research on the topic just to see, what I could find out there. And, there's not really strict scientific polls and stuff about women in the hobby, but by all accounts that I could find, women represent less than 10% in the
Sure.
hobby, but it's increasing every year.
Right.
I really feel like the representation, the women participating in the hobby, the numbers are increasing in scale with the female representation in the hobby, in sets and
Hmm.
cards and things like that. So as you saw the WNBA blow up with Caitlin Clark, and see, graded cards for the WNBA triple in the last year, and companies like Leaf coming out with Leaf Metal Women in Sport, I think you naturally start to get more women involved in the hobby because those are some things that are very relatable, right? Um, and then I also feel like local card shops are evolving a little bit into more family friendly social settings. Look at Benji's new place at BB Breaks. That is fantastic. Like, you are invited to come in there as a family, sit down, look at some cards, watch some sports on TV, listen to a game, on the speaker system while
Free
you're
soda,
doing
free chips,
yeah.
right? You can sit
Yep,
down, have a little
yep.
snack, and
And
yeah.
everybody's welcome, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree, and I think Fanatics gets it. Like, I think, before, and obviously they had to wait for license. There's things you can't do in business. You just have to let it sort of play itself out. Um, but I think they didn't rest on the laurels of, well, we can't do anything with this right now. We'll just sit here. And in the meantime, they started building out uh, a fan base, right, or a
Yep.
hobby base, and they started doing things that would, you know, well, we want to look at these shops. They need to be more modern. They need to be more, inviting. We need more family friendly stuff. Look at what we've done with our card show, right? We wanted a card show that was going to be more family friendly, more stuff for kids to do, and places for families to sit, and easy menu items for getting your lunch and stuff like that. Breaks, have providing entertainment during the show, right? You can watch somebody break live. I think I think the visions we've had for things we wanted to see grow are some of the things that Fanatics has as well, and they've been, pushing that as well.
Right.
Um, represent having more women represent their brand and things like that is a good move. I think the next big boom we could see is like the Women's World Cup.
Mhm.
That usually gets a push. That usually the women's team USA is pretty good, very competitive in that tournament. Make it through group play and get to quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever. Win the cup. They've done that plenty of times. So I think it's something that has some sense of urgency, because I think if you can get more women in, not that men don't, want women's World Cup cards either, but um, you're right. I think the female sports are gonna bring in more women. Like, that makes sense, right? So this is a good time to really do that and try to build off of that, and get your influencers out there to say, "Hey, come on, buy cards. They're not just for guys. We're having fun with this. Let's hang out and share our love of cards." And if they can get that, before there's that next big women's sports boom, which is likely the World Cup, possibly the Olympics. Women's Olympics cards do really well for me.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a couple of bigger things that are coming up where they could get another push, and try to build on that now. I think is pretty smart.
Yeah, and you're seeing more and more women in the hobby featured in content too. So,
Yeah.
not too long ago, eBay featured a trio of women, Latanya Hampton, Anna Kim, and Alex McFarlane, and really shared their experiences. They were a spotlight group in their, I guess, newspaper that eBay does. You talked about Mama Breaks before, so you're seeing them in Breakers. Queens of Cards is a big one out
Yep.
in
Yep.
the LA Basin. She Breaks is all over TikTok and IG, right? Um, and then there's a forum too called Women of the Hobby that is really picking up steam as well. So they're building a community, which is what we all
Mhm.
want, right? That the hobby is really just one big community.
And there's no intention to be like, oh, here's all the women's groups, here's all the men's groups. It's not like that. I think that they commingle just fine too, but it's also nice to have a spot that's like for you, like who you are, represents who you are, right? Everybody wants
Yeah,
to find their like people that are into their like things. That's how you create friendships and bonds and whatnot. Not whatnot, but whatnot.
yeah,
um, and that's great if they're creating platforms, creating spaces on platforms, getting more, followers, different content creators, and things like that. That will encourage more women to say, "Hey, I'm not the only one who's maybe interested in this. I listen to this podcast or watch this channel or do these breaks or whatever because this is a woman that I want to follow, and then it just gets them more involved and they can start doing their own things in the hobby. So it's great.
Yeah, and I think the community, to kind of expand on that, yeah, it's not so much that we need places for women in the community and places for men, but
Oops.
I think that naturally happens because unfortunately there still are some places that maybe are less inviting for women in the hobby.
Sure.
So having those community places give them a chance to share experiences, talk about both the good and the bad experience and spread the word about, hey, here's a local card shop that's really inviting the women. You feel comfortable there. You can have a good conversation and they don't, make any assumptions about anything. So I think we're kind of um in the dawn of a new age in the hobby with more women participating and more female representation in hobby offerings, and I think places like that help gain momentum.
Yeah, because like you said, there was never really a specific space for them. It was kind of like, sure, if you want to get into cards with this one woman with the 999 dudes, that's fine, but there wasn't really
Right.
going to be anything specifically for you, right? Unless you were into what all the men were into. So I think it's great. Yeah, it'll be really interesting going forward to see. I mean, you're right that WNBA, and for whatever reason, I didn't even think about that this morning when I was looking at it. The WNBA really changed it too. Caitlin Clark and all that. Like, I didn't know any of the women NBA WNBA players. In recent years until there was just a lot more talk of it, more commercials. Those athletes getting their own shoes, and it was a long time coming, and it's here, and it certainly has impacted the card market as well. I mean, WNBA was like at the national. No, I don't do a lot of WNBA, but at the national, it definitely seemed like that was something everybody was trying to participate in.
Yeah. And
So
I
there was
heard,
definitely a lot of demand.
like, every third table I was digging at, I heard somebody say to a dealer, do you have any WNBA?
Yeah, yeah, and I think even with Panini, I think they treated it right. They didn't just go out, "Oh, Caitlin Clark's in it. We're just gonna triple produce everything and kill it." They kinda stayed within it a little bit, which I think was smart. It kept some demand high, yet there was products you could get, quality products you could get. Um, there was nice parallels. There was high-end there was some high-end stuff. There was some, base flagship stuff. Like, you could get into WNBA, uh, and, making it accessible is just as important, right? So
Yeah.
we want all these new people to get into the hobby, but then you go to Target and there's 2 boxes on the shelf that no one
Yeah.
wants. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a problem too. You gotta have stuff that people can get. And you can have your high-end stuff, you can have your breaker products, you can do all that, but you better put something out there that people can just buy on a shelf, um, and get started, because somebody who just wants to join this hobby is not gonna go on to Fanatics and join in a break and do it. You're probably gonna pick up a couple of packs at Target, and oh, I follow the NBA and I hear the cards are cool, so I buy a couple packs, and boom, you hit something, even if it's just decent, right? Like a color parallel or something, you're hooked. You know, um, this is a little bit of a degenerate gambling hobby,
Yeah.
whether you want to admit it or not. And some of that, you need some of that. You need a hook, right, to get people in, and then hopefully they just really appreciate the hobby, they appreciate the art, and um, want to be a part of it from there, and not just necessarily just the gambling aspect, but you certainly can be that too. You can just be a break buyer and go for the gold every time, and there's a place for everybody, right? You
Right.
got 10 million to spend, we got cards for you. You got 70 cents to spend, we got a card for you. Like, it's the only hobby I know of where there's those extremes
Yeah.
on both ends, you know?
Yeah.
You wanna start
That's what makes it
fishing
great.
Yeah. You wanna start competitive fishing tomorrow? Well, you better have some money, you know, and a boat and a place to, you know, take your boat to. Like, most hobbies have lots of barriers to entry. Usually it's cost is the highest one, is the biggest one. Um, Cost and time. But this hobby, you can get in relatively cheap or even free. I mean, a lot of times we just give cards to kids and stuff like that to get started. Uh, but it's unique in the fact that it has a very low end space and it has a very high end space as well.
Right. Right. So when you told me we were going to talk about this today, I actually had a chance to put a few things together, Adam, and I put together a women's trading card starter kit cheat sheet. Should we take a look at it?
Sure.
If we've got some women listening tonight, or maybe pull up your show, in the coming weeks, and they're like, "Hey, I'm kind of interested, but I don't know where to start." I tried to put something together to say, "Hey, here's a good way to start out in the hobby." And I think it's really not just for women. I think anybody could kind of look at this, and it's some pretty good advice for those looking to start out. Should we take a look at it and you can share your
Yeah,
thoughts?
sure.
All right, let's see here. Do, 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 do. There we go. Look at that. Look at that nice dollar box graphic I put up there just for you.
That's pretty hot. Is
You,
that
you know
supposed to
what
be
that
like
is? You know what that
the
is?
lid underneath the box?
Yeah. You like that attention to
Nice.
detail?
I do. I appreciate you, Charlie.
So
Let's see.
yeah,
Go ahead. You cover it. Let us know
if
what's
you're
on there.
just thinking of starting out, I think a really good place to think about is those beginner friendly cards and sets. So as Adam was just saying, you can spend $10,000 on a set of cards, or you can spend $50 on a complete set, right?
Mhm.
So really it's best to start on that lower end until you get your feet wet and you really know what you're getting and what you want to chase after, and not spend too much. Use those early days to really learn as much as you can, and you don't want to invest too much when you're really just figuring it out, right? So
You can
um
also use those cards to build up to better cards. You know,
absolutely.
you can trade up, instead of having to spend all your own money.
Yeah. So there's some suggestions there of some sports and non-sports pop culture selections that you can kind of start out with and what you want to kind of focus on. So of course we got some WNBA and women's college basketball there. We talked about the Leaf Metal Women of Sport,
Mhm.
Panini WNBA, the standards of the Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL offerings, and looking for those rookies and short prints. And then the big guys in the non-sports area, which we talked about a lot last week on the show. So Pokemon, Magic, and then Marvel, Disney, Star Wars. Those are ways that you can really get started into the hobby without investing a ton of money and kind of learning your way. And I think it's a good tip there at the bottom to really focus things you're going to enjoy. You're not stressing out over that ROI. You are just getting cards you're going to enjoy, and then learn about how cards work in the hobby. And especially if you're looking at reselling, understanding what those markets do.
I don't know if you know this, but this year they also released the first set of women's professional softball league, which is like a Texas only league
Yes.
right now. They released cards of
Almost
that.
got it once.
They also now they're on the second series. The first series was very popular and sold out fast, but there's also a women's NHL hockey release. I think it's Upper Deck. It's an Upper Deck product, I believe.
Okay.
But I bought some for my niece. My niece is getting into collecting. She's 12, I think. If I get that wrong, sorry, sister, but um, she's in that ballpark. I know she just had a birthday. She must be 13 now. Anyway, hockey player, amazing little hockey player herself. And she got into cards, so I bet I brought her some cards and some supplies and stuff, and we were talking cards. So of course, for her birthday, I'm like, well, I have to get her cards. That's my responsibility, right, as the uncle. So I was shocked when there was women's professional hockey cards. So it was
Yeah.
fun. I got her a couple boxes of that, and um, she loves the men's leagues and the men's cards. So I got her some of those too. So that, again, you can mesh that stuff together. It doesn't have to be women's cards or men's cards. You can have both. But she had a great time opening them and seeing some of the women's players and think about for somebody like that, right? She's seeing these women that took a path she's on, right? They,
Hmm.
got into the sport early, worked really hard, played competitive leagues, did travel, did all that stuff, and now they're able to play that sport professionally and do something that they love. Um, that's inspirational to somebody that age, right? I mean,
Right.
when I was that age, I was watching, Ronaldo, not Cristiano, the other Ronaldo from Brazil, and Pelé, and like these guys that set the bar for U.S. soccer, David Beckham, that kind of thing. And I'd watch them, and it was like, man, this is pretty cool. Look at what these guys can do, and they work their butts off, and this is where they are now. And it drove me. If they can do it, why can't I?
Right.
And I think that's something that we kind of forget about in cards. Like we always talk about, we want kids to be involved, we want women to be, but what does it mean for them? What does it do for a kid versus a 45-year-old male? Like I have zero aspirations of playing professional soccer at my current time in life, right?
Right.
But for a kid getting those cards and is, into that sport or, into that, person, heck, now it's like you can follow them on Twitter and you can do, now you can be really involved in that with that player, or personality or pop culture or whatever it is, actress, actor. Um, Cards can be a nice way to sort of build up that experience, right? And give you some drive to get to the next step.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love your beginner kit. I mean, I think it really applies to women, men, anybody really can kind of go with this.
Yep.
Um, Obviously with the women's sports, that's why I added the other couple ones because we have WNBA on there, but there is the softball, there is the hockey, there is soccer. There's lots of other women's sports cards. You do not have to be into WNBA to get women's cards. It's not
Right.
your only option. The Olympics cards. I bought a lot of the Topps Chrome Olympics. I thought it was an amazing product this last year. You had Katie Ledecky, right? She broke the all-time medals record, and you got some amazing women athletes in sports. The In the Olympics, you have all the gymnasts and all that. So um, it's cool. It's cool to have some products that feature those athletes as well.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
it's almost Halloween, Adam, so I got to bring out a Scream reference and say, "But wait, there's more."
Ah, nice.
So, online communities and mentors. Look for some of those resources we just talked about. Look for some of those breaking uh, presences, I guess I would say, and social media folks like Queen of Cards here. She breaks. There's good Reddit communities out there. Get familiar with your local card shops. A lot of times they have community nights or special events.
Trade
Um,
nights.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So look for those opportunities to get engaged there. Some recommended tools and resources. Get to know PSA and I would say to a lesser extent now, depending on what you're collecting, Beckett is still sometimes. I think vintage cards, Beckett's still a good resource.
And you know
eBay and
what? If you're
Comedy.
That's not a bad idea. If you're new, just pick up a magazine.
Yeah.
It might be
Yeah.
easier to look something up. You can do it by year. It's what, $7, $8 for a magazine. It's not the end of the world. You can sit down with your cards, flip through the pages, just like what we did when we were kids. And it might be a little less overwhelming than trying to look up certain cards and seeing all
Yep.
these different values and different parallels and things like that. It might be something that is a little easier to start out with.
Absolutely. Check out that eBay and ComC as some of the leading platforms where you can be a reseller or buy your own collection, right? Look for some of those influencers on Instagram and TikTok. Follow some of those women collectors to stay current, as it suggests there. For your own personal supplies, if you're going to start having cards, you're going to need some things to protect them and keep them in, right? So maybe a binder, definitely some top loaders and some sleeves. You don't just want stacks and stacks of cards laying around unprotected. You want some type of system. I know Adam's looking around. He's like, you don't.
Oops.
But I'm thinking more on your personal collection that may be, just tucked away on a shelf someplace for a while. You want to make sure you're protecting those cards. Adam and I certainly have some stacks of raw cards laying around, but those are turning pretty quickly and aren't sitting there very long. So
No.
yeah,
Just the next stack waiting to hit the machine. That's what that is
that's right.
for the
That's
most
right.
part.
So, suggestion for a starter workflow. How do you put this all to work? Well, start by picking your focus. What are you really into? What do you enjoy the most? Do you want to do something in sports? Are you more of a non-sports person, or do you want to do both? So, pick your lane essentially to get started. Set a budget. Again, we were talking cards. There's a price point for everybody, right? We recommend starting small, set a budget of maybe $50 to $100 a month. That's enough to start learning some of it, and you can gradually build that up. Would you agree with that, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Join one or two communities, get engaged, ask questions. Just watching breaks is educational as well.
Hmm.
You get to learn what are the desirable cards people are looking for. What are those hits, right? And you can learn a lot about sets too, especially if they're breaking some older stuff and you start to learn, okay, what's unique about that set? What makes that set desirable from a collector? Maybe there's a gold Tom Brady in there and there's only 7 of them or whatever, So, um, what was it in the Don Russ that we were talking about a few weeks ago?
The downtowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that we were talking about. Benji might break a case of that.
Oh, the 2013 Select.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the gold Brady chase. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the price got like, I don't know. There was a lot of attention on it or something, and all of a sudden the price just like doubled. So the break
Yeah.
just didn't make sense anymore from a business standpoint. So they had to let that one go. But yeah, that
Right.
would have been fun. That'd have been a fun break.
So next, buy and organize. So whether you're buying packs or buying collections or buying a box, whatever it may be, but open those things up, sleeve them, put them away, and however you're gonna choose to store your cards. Some people like to keep an inventory of everything they have. Some people just like to put it in a binder and put it on the shelf. Figure out what works for you, and then start to participate in some of those breaks or make some of those posts. Get some content out there. And then eventually learn about grading and the value of cards by studying that PSA or Beckett. Learn about pop reports, all of those things. So you kind of have just figuring out where you want to play, to opening a few packs, to learning about the value of them and the unique things about different sets. So you build and build and build gradually in the hobby. And I think that's the same for everybody. I know it was for me. Like every
Mhm.
day I learn something new in the hobby. That's what I love about doing something like this or doing my podcast on a Monday morning, is that I'm usually doing something that I learned something new in.
Yeah, and then eventually you end up with like 25 5-row boxes full of stuff. So be
True.
ready. Be ready. Make sure you have some space somewhere
True.
to put these things. But
Now, really
yeah,
important is this part 5 here, tips for enjoying the hobby. Because if you don't enjoy it, it's not going to last, right? And if you
so
pursue the
true.
wrong things for the wrong reasons, you're going to burn yourself out and you're going to lose it, right? So focus on fun first. Again, don't stress on ROI or flipping initially. Figure out what you like to do. We were talking about Tops basketball before, and Adam told you what I said when he brought it up, and I was like, who cares? I learned very quickly that I find basketball and the hobby very boring, and I don't like it. So I've kind of drifted from it. I may get a little bit here and there, just to keep some of my followers happy in my store, to have some modern products sometimes. But it's not something that I enjoy sitting for 3 hours and going through. I can sit for 3 hours going through cards that are baseball, football, or non-sport. But you give me a pile of basketball in front of me, 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I need to switch it up. Just
Yeah, it's amazing when I go through a stack of basketball how many people I have no clue who they are when I see the
right?
name.
Yeah.
I kind of stick to just the big guns, right? I do, Luca and LeBron and Curry and stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, when and it's just low end stuff, obviously, but and some cool inserts here and there. But yeah, if I have like some other random players, it's just because like it got tossed in with other stuff. It wasn't intentional.
Right.
I
Right.
very rarely pull basketball stuff out of boxes. Sometimes I like 90s stuff. Like I'll pick up a little Scottie Pippen here and there, and Dennis Rodman, and some of those guys. Obviously Jordan. Um, but yeah, outside of that, yeah, my basketball is very slim.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
There's plenty of sellers that are like, I love basketball. I have lots of basketball. It sells well for me, and that's what I do. That's great. You do have to have some kind of a focus for sure.
You do. You do. Start networking with other collectors or other female mentors so that you can accelerate your learning. Like I've been fortunate to have Adam nearby, and Adam had a head start on me. So, I was able to basically absorb a lot of what Adam did a lot quicker because we network a lot, right?
Mm.
And then I started getting to know some of the dealers of the local card shows in town and talking with them more, and going to card shows and talking with those dealers a little bit more. All of that will exponentially speed up your learning curve on it. I would say if I didn't have that connection and network with Adam and dealers and things like that, I would be significantly further behind in my knowledge of the hobby than where I am today.
I'd just like to point out that I didn't really do that good a job because he bought a box of pickleball cards.
You just wait. That thing is going to be coveted someday.
It's gone, Charlie. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Just like the Brewers season will be in a couple of short games here.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Talking tough. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So tomorrow night, it's a later game, right? Like 8 o'clock or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. That'll
All
be
right.
interesting.
Can't wait. Moving on, document your collection via photos or social posts. I mean, if you don't want to document every card you have, that's fine. But I think you do want to generally understand what are some of the bigger, better cards maybe you have in your personal collection, or at least know the sets you have. Like I used to be a set collector, and I can at least tell you that I had 90% of 2012 tops, 2013 tops, and
Hmm.
then I went away for a while, and then I had 2020 and 2021, so you kind of have an idea of what you got there, because you'd be surprised how many conversations lead to, well, are you looking to move any of it? Or, hey, I've
Yep.
got a card from that set that people are often looking for. Are you interested? Um, so attend shows with friends or in groups for it. Here we put confidence and safety That's kind of specifically for the female side of the hobby, because as we said before, women in the hobby are still like less than 10%. So if you can go in groups, I know a lot of times it can make you feel a little more comfortable. But I would also say going in a group gives you that camaraderie and better conversation. You're sharing what you picked up and things like that. Going to a card show by yourself is a much different experience than going with a few friends. So
Yeah,
I would always recommend
especially
going.
early on, if you're
Yeah,
if you're going like Charlie and I do sometimes, I'm going there to pick up inventory and I'm working. It's not all pleasure anyway. I always enjoy a
right.
card show, but it's not the same as when you're just collecting or you're just getting started, and it can be more fun. You can kind of look for cards together and do some, comparison and make a day of it. Get some lunch together and look at each other's cards that you picked up. And yeah, card shows are a great way to get started.
And even us, like we go to a card show and we're working. You're right. We'll be digging in boxes for hours at a time. But we always seem to find 15 minutes to sit down and compare what we picked up and talk about what we got. And that brings some of the joy back in while we're working, right?
Yeah, or like even at our own show, right? We do a little bit of early shopping and then we hop on a live and kind of show what we picked up, open some packs, have some fun with it, you know,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And finally, look for some of those inclusive or beginner friendly events at your LCS. So, I still think the LCS is kind of that atom of the hobby, right? By atom, I mean molecular building block, right?
Yeah.
It's
Adam
that
with a
first
T.
it's that first place a lot of us have a chance to really explore the hobby. Somebody else often takes us in there, maybe our parents, maybe a friend, and we get to see the wide variety that's out there. Now, we're in the digital age. I know that you can see a lot of that online now, but there was a time when that was the only place you could see all the different things that Tops had to offer, or
Yep.
you would get it in print, and I still think with the evolving structure of card shops now being more inviting, having areas where you can sit down and really have a casual day about it, places that aren't saying, hey, I need to get more foot traffic, get out of here in 20 minutes. They want you to come in and spend the day. I think that is going to reinvigorate the local card shop, and get more people in again.
Now, to be fair, there are card shops that have been around for a long time that also do a good job. We have
Sure.
one in town that I've been going to since I was 10 years old. Uh, and I still like to patron there from time to time because I've always had a good experience there, and you kind of become friends, if you will.
Hmm.
Hobby shops will know who you are. They have certain people that are constantly coming back.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
so even though it maybe doesn't have the fancy couches and the TVs, doesn't necessarily mean that it's not an LCS worth visiting or building a relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So that is the starter kit if you're looking to get into the hobby, whether you're a woman or a man. Really, anybody I think can find some value from these, and really get kickstarted in the hobby. So interested to see what some of our chat thinks of that, as they think about their early experiences in the hobby and getting started.
Yeah, well done. You and AI.
That's right. Right.
Yeah, I
Get help where you can get it, Adam.
well, yeah. Don't do anything you don't have to yourself. Um, yeah, it's good. I think this was a good topic. We don't really talk about new people and hobby building and all that, and just seemed like the perfect time to do it. With my experience looking at more, women placing orders, and then we had, the big boom in WNBA over the past year or two, and then we have, you know, Topps coming back in and making products. They're going to want to make women's sports products too, more so than Panini would. So I expect some pretty solid soccer products out of them too. With the men's World Cup coming up this year, obviously, but then in 2 years you got the Women's World Cup and them kind of following suit in the women's cards and building on that as well.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're right about that. Well, what do you got next? Should we jump into some chat for a while?
Yeah, it's chat time. We're an hour in, so we're a little bit past chat time, but we got Boom Slang here. He says, "Yo," that's correct. One yo, good job. Yo, back to you. Thanks for joining us. Happy Wednesday. Snappy is now designated Heckler Cards, finally setting up an eBay store. Awesome. Congrats. Let us know if you need any help. Make sure you're in the
All right.
Discord. Discord link, by the way, is right there right now on the bottom of the screen. And we can help you out there. So, yeah, awesome. Got to figure out all the eBay settings and then solidify inventory and shipping processes before we begin listing. Getting close. What was your promo code for Card Dealer Pro? It is dollar box, not the dollar box. I don't know why they didn't make it the dollar box, but I didn't make the code. They made it and gave it to me. But it's dollar box. You'll get 500 free scans, and it'll kick you off in their program. We still use Card Dealer Pro. Still a great way to get your cards on there quick. I have a comment about. I do have a comment about Card Dealer Pro, but I want to get through some more chat before we do this.
All right.
Daryl Val is here. He says, what are your top 3 selling quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers all time? Wanting to compare your list to mine. Yeah, that's a big question. I would say ours are probably going to be different just because of how much stock we carry, or what years you like to buy, that kind of thing. What price point. But definitely number 1 is Brett Favre, but that's because I have like lots of Brett Favre cards listed, more than any other player. And I'm kind of known as like a Favre dealer, really. The second QB would be Tom Brady. I think that's probably on most people's top 3 QB list. 3 is going to be a really close number between 2 players, and I would say it's John Elway and Dan Marino.
Okay.
So those would be my top 3.
Yeah, so I have right now I would say it's a mix of Hall of Famers and a close battle with a couple of modern QBs too. So Favre is one of my better sellers as well. I sell some Joe Montana pretty regularly.
Yep.
And then modern players, Mahomes and Josh Allen, are far and away the top modern players. I thought it would be interesting if I just pulled up my sales and looked at the last 3 quarterbacks I sold. Number 1, Brett Favre, or as it looks like on paper, Favre. Number 2, I don't think anyone would see this one coming. Bill Musgrave. Do you remember Bill Musgrave?
Not really.
He was a Packers quarterback. It was a 1991 score Bill Musgrave rookie card, still in his Oregon Ducks uni, but it was I believe it was a Packers card. Oh no, nope, I'm wrong. It was all Ducks. Let's see. So I don't know if he even played for the Packers. I might be wrong about that, but 91 rookie Bill Musgrave. And then third quarterback in that list was Tom Brady in Michigan card.
Yeah, I mean, those, other than Musgrave, that's obviously an outlier, but the other ones, definitely make sense.
I like the outliers. Those are the ones that give me the most excitement.
And that's something I'll just, I'll put a disclaimer on our lists here, and that's that you can literally sell any player. We're just simply putting out like our best selling players. Okay, running backs, it's Walter Payton, Barry Sanders. The third one's kind of tough. I would say Jerome Bettis would probably be my third one. Yeah, I'll go with that. Modern running backs don't sell very well for me.
Yeah, I gotta go Barry Sanders and Jerome Bettis for sure. Marshall Falk, maybe. Sell a lot of Marshall Falk.
I
By
say
the way,
Walter. I say Walter
Walter.
Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my other
Yeah.
one, and not even because I get a ton of cards of him. It's just they're totally liquid. I get them and I list them and they sell.
Yeah, that's why he didn't come to
So
mind for me, because I just don't find a lot of Walter Payton.
yeah.
But every time I do, they're gone very quickly. Yeah.
Yep.
So he would definitely be at the top of the list. By the way, Bill Musgrave played for the 49ers and the Broncos, and he won a Super Bowl with the 49ers.
Interesting. I mean, the name like sort of sounds familiar, but I wouldn't have like pulled that out of my hat if you said, "What are my top 3?" Or my last
Yeah.
3, I should say, not top 3, but right.
More recently, he's probably known for more for his coaching career, but he is the uncle of Luke Musgrave, a tight end for the Green Bay Packers.
That
That's where I got the Packers connection from.
yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely know who that is. All right,
Yeah.
top 3 wide receivers. Jerry Rice,
Mm-hmm.
Randy Moss, and
Michael Irvin.
yeah, that's what I would say too. Yeah, Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Michael Irvin actually popped in my mind before Randy Moss, and then I was like, oh no, it's got to be Randy Moss as number 2.
Yeah, Randy Moss, easy.
Yeah, the very, very easy selling players for sure.
Yep.
And Michael Irvin gets bonus points because he played for the Cowboys, and I just have a huge buying group for Cowboys cards.
That said, my last receiver sale was a Cooper DeJean.
Okay. Is he a receiver?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was defense.
Is it? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think so. He plays for the Eagles, right?
He does, yeah.
Yeah. I think he's like a free safety or defensive back or something.
You're right. Number 33 cornerback. See?
Yeah.
Look at that.
I know stuff.
You
I do stuff. All right, let's see. So that was fun. We haven't answered a question like that in a while. I like
players that sold recently. Usually it's more of the
defense that does well for me. I had a big order today, and like half of it was Lawrence Taylor stuff. You know. So yeah, don't completely write off defensive players. You can sell them. How many different rookies of Cooper Flagg will be in the 25-26 Topps NBA basketball product? Which one will be his true rookie? I think, I don't know, true rookie. I hate that. I don't like all the. To me, if the card comes out the first year of the player, it's a rookie card. I don't care if it's an insert or whatever. But I think most of the secondary market will view his true rookie as like his regular base draft card, or lucky 13 card or whatever. Because he'll have just a regular card where he was, it'll have the RC logo on it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that'll be the one that everybody will view as the true rookie. But yeah, I suspect he'll have 5 or 6 different cards at least, plus a bunch of inserts in the top set. So we'll see, what they end up putting out. But I'll pick up some Cooper Flagg tops. That sounds fun. Nice licensed product, and it's tops. It's not Panini, so pricing will be more fair. The products will be better. So it's yeah.
So when I pulled up the odds list for the new Topps basketball product, that lists out, that's listing by all the parallels and stuff like that. That was 18 pages long.
Sure.
And there's about 10 different parallels per page, I think. So that would tell me that there's like 180 different rookie cards.
Yeah, but I think I'm not counting each parallel or anything like that. I'm just counting like, okay, there's 400 cards in the set, numbered from 1 to 400. How many are going to have Cooper Flagg in it?
Yeah.
That's kind of that's how I interpreted the question anyway. But yeah, are you going to count the 1 of 1 as, another one of his printed rookies? Well, sure, but you're not going to get that card,
Right.
It's not,
Yeah, it's a 300 card base set, but then there are hundreds of inserts and parallels.
Sure. But there's that for football, there's that for baseball, there's that
Yeah,
for
for
soccer.
sure.
Like it's not weird. Dan is here. He says, what fellas? I think he meant what up, fellas. Wazza! Uh basketball hype, but no Doncic will be in it. How valuable will his Lakers jersey cards be in the few Panini products of him in it? I don't know. Unless the Lakers really do something with it, I don't know that anybody's really going to care that much if it's like him in a Lakers jersey or not. I think that Sports Illustrated for Kids card where he's in the Lakers jersey, where it was like his first Lakers. I think that's the coolest one. Just because it's more obscure. You know, Panini crams out enough products. I don't know how late or late. I don't know how rare they're really going to be or anything, but
Right.
um, you know, and it's funny because this is like the first time a modern player isn't in a set or a release, and people are freaking out like, "There's no Luka Doncic." No. But I've been telling people for years, one of the reasons Jordan stuff keeps going up is because they can't make any cards of him.
Yeah.
Right? I sell tons of Barry Sanders, but guess what? They make tons of Barry Sanders cards every year, still to this day, because they can. They have the license to do that, but they can't make Jordan stuff. Just like Gretzky in hockey or Tiger Woods cards if you buy new golf releases. Tiger's not in it. Well,
I know.
unless it's an upper deck product, to be fair.
I see new
But
Jordan cards from Goodwin Champions every year.
there's 3 or 4 of these low budget cards. They're also not licensed, by the way, so he's not in a Bulls
Yeah, he's
uniform.
not in a uni. Yeah.
So it's not that's still kind of aren't real to be
Yeah.
fair. Compared to what we're looking at here, right? Licensed products, so he's not gonna be in it. Um But I've been talking about that for years and years and years when people are like, "Oh, Jordan stuff still goes." Now, obviously, Jordan is Jordan, so there's a reason there's a lot of hobby there too. But I think he just kind of kept increasing, and people kept going for more demand on his inserts and things like that because there's no new cards.
Yeah.
You can't get a one of one optic black Jordan. It doesn't exist. So you have to try to get the one of one 1996 finest superfractor, Topps Chrome superfractor. Well, guess what? That's the only year they ever had that superfractor, and they're not making any. So
Right.
it's not like every year there's another 15 one-of-ones in each set that you can chase for a player. So it just drives those prices up and up and up and up. And he has a huge market, so the demand is there besides. But now the whole reason I said all that was that in my mind that was the first thing I thought of is, okay, well, is this Luka going to kind of be like Jordan where they don't make cards of him, so now people have the demand? I don't think so. I don't think Luka's chased as much that that's going to matter, and I think he'll be on licensed products eventually.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. I could be wrong. I was wrong once, right? Right, YouTube troll guy. I was wrong once, or am I always right? I don't know. Okay, let's look at the next one. Oh, he corrected it. What up, fellas? That's funny.
What up?
Let's see. Designated heckler. Goat name suggestions. Ooh, good. I was waiting for this. Holler and Hank. I like that. Combines the
Yeah.
goat scream with an homage to the nickname of one of baseball's greatest of all time, Hammer and Hank Aaron. I don't think we have to go any further. I think that's the name. I love it.
I like it.
Holler and Hank the goat. And I like hollering versus like screaming. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's just more penetrating, I guess. I don't know.
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah, I think I'd rather get screamed at than get hollered at. To me, when I hear the word holler, it makes me think, oh, my parents are disappointed in me. you know. Anyway, so yeah, I like Holler and Hank. I think that's fun. Good call. I'm curious when Topps gets all 3 licenses, will they be slower on releasing products? Will they remove some of the sets to keep up? So I have a take on that. Why don't you start, Charlie? Will you respond to this? I want to hear what you have to say.
Will they be slower in releasing products, or will they remove some of the sets to keep up? So I think the money is too great for them to slow anything down. Anything they put out, people buy. So I don't think it'll slow down at all. I think they're just going to keep hammering it out. They may increase production facilities. Who knows? It's like printing money for them.
Yeah. I kind of agree, but I also think they're not going to just put out a bunch of junk sets. Topps doesn't really do that. Even the sets what they've experimented with over the years, were fairly successful, right? So let's think about like Topps Valor, Topps Fire, Topps Magic, Topps Total. Okay, Topps Total is a little bit of a low end budget card, but the parallels sell really well. I saw a ton of Topps Total stuff. Um, so yeah, I don't think it's going to be a lot of like throwaway sets. I would love to see, and I don't know why this doesn't happen anymore, but like one of the only products I really liked from Panini was Chronicles, because you got so many cool cards of different sets, and they were less printed because they were all combined into one set. So there wasn't as much product out there for like there is in an individual set. With Topps, I really like composite. I love composite football with Resurgence and Chrome and Cosmic and Topps Gallery and Allen and Ginter and all that stuff. So I'm hoping maybe they do like the main sets that the hobbyists are going to come for, right? The Topps, the Chrome, the Finest. And then maybe they continue with a composite type product where they have a bunch of other like smaller interest sets together so that you can get those products all at the same time. But I don't think it's going to go that route. I think they're going to just do individual releases.
I think so too.
As Charlie said, I don't think they're going to put out as many products as Panini was, though. I don't feel they're going to, because first of all, they don't have any competition, so they can just print like a whole bunch of one set and it'll all sell. They don't have to worry about Panini making stuff, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think this first year, I think they're going to really want to catch up to the printing years. Now remember, they can't print anything licensed from 24-25 sets. Only Panini can do that. So they have to do 24-25. Yeah, it's got to be 25-26 sets, right? Yes. Yeah, so this new top set will be 25-26. So it'll be the draft class from the 25 draft, and it'll be
Right.
this season going into 2026.
Yeah, it's 25-26 Topps basketball.
Yes. So they're going to want to kind of stay on track, because if they're not putting that stuff out, now everybody's going to go buy the 24-25 because that stuff's coming out still from Panini, and they're going to lose their sales on that. So if they keep putting out the 25-26 stuff, they'll get the money. People will buy their products over the 24-25 stuff, I believe. Plus, it's a better rookie class, so they got an advantage that way. But I mean, the things that I feel like are for sure going to come out are going to be Topps flagship. Obviously, they've already announced that. We see it. Topps Finest, Topps Chrome. I think they're going to continue to do some kind of Cosmic product because it's been very popular in baseball and football. And Cosmic looks awesome with basketball, right? You have all different little planets, and you got a guy holding a basketball. Like, I don't know, it just kind of fits.
Yeah, that makes
like
more sense.
The look makes some sense. And one of the things I don't like about basketball cards is I think the pictures are really boring on it after, picture after picture after picture. And one of the things you can do to make that look a little more exciting is have a fun design of a card.
Yeah.
To put with. I mean, look at metal basketball is amazing. You see some of the like Jordan base metal cards where he's flying through the air and the ball's on fire behind him and stuff. Like, dude, those cards are fire. Pun intended. So I don't know. I'm hoping they come out with like a set like that, like Topps Fire, or something that just adds some interest into basketball products, because basketball products don't sell as well, not even close to as well as they used to.
So I think high end does.
Yeah, but that's just because that's people just looking for a payday. It's not.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily collectors, and if all you're going to do is put out a quality high end product, you might as well just shut down the hobby right now because it's your buying pool is going to be so small for that. I don't know. We'll see. Transcendent and Definitive are the high end products made by Topps. Yes, I saw your comment earlier, Bradley. Thank you for bailing me out because I couldn't remember the name. I was close on the Transcendent one, but yeah, as soon as you said it, that made sense. Definitive, I'm not too familiar with, so
In
will
fairness, we don't really deal with the high end stuff.
Right. Will they make those products in the future? I don't know. It'll be interesting. Boomslang says DB. I don't remember what that's in.
Cooper DeJean. Yeah, he's right.
Oh, yeah.
I mix that up all the time with him because he gets so much hype on TV every time there's a game. In my head, I just make him a receiver because it's like he's this flashy player.
Yeah,
the way
offensive
the
player.
talk about him.
Yeah. And I knew he wasn't a wide receiver because I remember the big interception he had in the Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's like, well, if he intercepted the ball, he's not a wide receiver. All right. So we got a comment on Musgrave here. Must have had a rough job as a rookie, third string quarterback behind Montana and Young.
Quarterback.
I think some of it is your attitude on something like, yeah, exactly. That's how I look at that too. It's like, Rodgers got drafted and oh no, he had to sit. Favre didn't really have to sit. Well, kind of. But I mean, he learned from Makowski. I don't know that that's the best quarterback school, but he did have the best quarterback, one of the best quarterback coaches ever.
I mean, if he was learning about hair, then Makowski was a pretty good teacher.
That's true. Magic. He was taught him magic. But yeah, I feel like most of the best quarterbacks kind of sat behind somebody that was great, or had really good coaches or something like that. And it kind of gets you over that hump because everybody in the pros is going to be good. It's not, that's not the question. It's who's good enough to be good in the pros. And those are your edges, right? Learning from somebody who knows what they're doing, having good coaching, all those kinds of things. And I think in this case, it did help Musgrave because he won a Super Bowl. So he must have done something right. All right. Lofi Joe is up, and I hate this. No Yelich the GOAT? Absolutely not.
It's just because you're a Brewers hater.
Absolutely not. Good one. Dan says Topps triple threads. I second that. I love Topps triple thread. Oop, I just zapped it off the screen. I love Topps triple threads as well. Yeah, those are fun cards. They're more like mid-end, right? Because that's, just a few cards in a pack for $500 a box or whatever. But yeah, quality stuff. And it's fun because you can get multiple pieces of material on it and autos and books and all that kind of fun stuff that has kind of gone away. I would really like to see them go to only game used patches and jersey cards, and stay away from this. Not, I bought the jersey at Shopko and cut it up and here it is in a card for you. Shopko doesn't exist anymore, by the way, but that's my example. But I'm hoping they do some of that, put some integrity back into the products a little bit, have actual game used jerseys, or even if it's like rookie premier worn jersey, they put it on and took it off. At least that's something. Less sticker autos, especially on those high end products. You should not have a product like, what did I see just open? I think it was Flawless Football, and they pull an RPA and the sticker, it's a sticker auto, and then the patch is from not a specific game or event. I'm like, that card is garbage. Like, I could have made that card, on something that's like $7,000 a box or whatever. So I'm hoping, Topps brings some of that back so we don't just have all these garbage products that we have to buy because that's what's out there. That's the only thing we can can purchase.
Externally option.
Yeah. And if they want to do that in some low end products, like one of the things I love that Topps does is like their holiday baseball release, right? And
Yep.
you can get a card in the box of like a player wearing a holiday sweater, and you have a little chunk of the holiday sweater in the card, right?
And
Clearly they
holiday
didn't wear it in a
basketball is coming.
yeah. And clearly they didn't wear it in a game or anything like that. But to me, if you want to do just like a fun memorabilia piece like that, that would be awesome. But one of the things I miss is a lot of the memorabilia releases in the 90s, right? You could get a piece of shoe, a piece of helmet, a piece of pylon. Do you remember the pylon cards?
Yeah.
You could get a piece of the net from, the field goal net. Not maybe they don't have access to that stuff anymore, but I think that's fun. And if Topps can throw some of that in on lower end products and products for fun, I think you're going to get a lot more buy-in from the collectors and the flippers if you have stuff that's actually like game worn and real. And they do that even the jersey cards and the I don't know about the basketball, but the holiday baseball release, they're game worn, most of them. That's a $30 blaster box. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, look at this Ace Bailey card with the sugar cookies that are jersey cards.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy what you can put in a card and call it a memorabilia card. It's no jersey, but here it is in the card saying like it's this player's card with a jersey on it. Like, how's that even allowed?
Right.
I gotta plug in. I need some juice.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well,
You're always running out of juice.
some days.
Dan says he doesn't like the player worn either, where they send the guy a bunch of shirts to put on at their house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's true, but at least it touched the player. Like, that's still better than like half of these jersey cards that are from not a specific game or event. If you crack the card open, it's not even a jersey of that player. I mean, they're getting really far out of bounds with calling it a memorabilia card when it's, I don't know.
I just assume a lot of
That's a
them are
tough
like
one.
practice jerseys they never actually got around to needing or something like that.
And that could be. Yeah, I mean, game used jerseys is what we actually want.
Right.
And I think the prices they're trying to get for some of these products, so it's like, come on, put something game worn. I can see if they're putting Babe Ruth stuff in there. Well, I don't know how accessible it is to get Babe Ruth game used stuff anymore. That might have kind of been played out. There's enough of those shirts cut up that there might just not be any. He hasn't played a game in 80 years, 90 years. That might be the end of it. But a player like, somebody who's in the league, right? Ja Morant, right? Like, how can they not get a game used jersey? The guy plays 120 games a year, changes his jersey at halftime. So, assuming he played all the games, you'd have 240 jerseys you could get to before playoffs or anything else. Like,
yeah.
And then when you cut it up, these guys are huge and these jerseys are huge. Like, how many jersey cards do you get out of a basketball jersey? It's got to be a couple hundred, I would think.
You would think so, yeah.
So it's like, come on, there's got to be, and that's one player, right? How many players are in the league that you could cut jerseys up of? Hundreds of them. It's like, I don't know, it feels like a stretch that they couldn't get anything game used. They just went cheap. They knew we would still buy the card, so they just went cheap.
Yep.
They just bought a stack of clearance Fanatics jersey, threw them in a cart, and brought them back to the shop and cut them up. And then didn't even care if it was the actual jersey that got in the card. It was just whatever random jersey ended up in there.
They just care about the margins.
But margins disappear if your customers, get fed up too, though. So anyway, let's see. Yes, let's go back to cutting up helmets, footballs, game-worn uniforms, number out of no more than 500. Gives the specific details from the event game. Yeah, make the jersey card more the star of the hit show, if you will. So, because I can remember like early 2000s, I'd buy boxes and it was like you got one game used jersey card in it. Like that was the hit. You paid $75 for the box, got plenty of inserts, maybe a couple number cards, whatever, but you got this one card with this little window of jersey cut out, and it was probably a napkin, was all you were going to get, but it was a game used jersey card. And that made it worth it, right? You're getting a piece of the game whenever you bought a box.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's nothing that brings you close to the game in cards anymore, because even the autos, like they just signed a sticker sheet. You know, they didn't handle the card, they didn't, put a pen to the card, they didn't even see the card, they don't even know what card it goes on. They just signed a sticker.
Yeah.
So now again, for some lower end products or whatever, that could be fine, but and Topps does do a better job of that, right? There's more on-card autographs in baseball products. There's more actual jerseys in Topps baseball products. And so I'm hoping that, that'll transmit to basketball. Football can be tougher for jersey cards if you think about it, because you only play 16 games. I don't know how many times they change their jersey in a game, probably a couple, but
I prefer when they cut up the footballs and stuff.
yeah, like Collector's Edge had great products like that in the 90s where you'd buy a special retail box and it would come with one card. There's always like a card with a piece of a football in it, right? And it could be any player really, but yeah, it was just cool to get a little piece of memorabilia from the game. And the pylon cards, I like those. Like there's lots of practice jerseys. They made game used. I have some really nice Favre practice jersey cards where it's a piece of the red. He always wears a red jersey at practice.
Yep. The quarterback.
He's the one guy who can't hit. He's in red. I like that. I like that kind of stuff over, just a swatch of a, oh, look at this patch logo that's in that card. That's sick, bro. Right?
Sick,
but it's a patch cut out of a shirt that no one ever wore. Like, who cares?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. I see the first Topps basketball mega holiday already costs more than the baseball holiday mega. Yeah. Basketball products will always cost more. Basketball licensing is more expensive. The big names cost more money, things like that. So I'm not surprised by that. And I'm fine with that because, again, basketball stinks. I'd rather have the baseball product be cheaper because I'll buy the baseball product. I love the baseball holiday product every year where they have the little hidden things, instead of a bat, it's a
man and the elf. Yeah.
Yeah, a string of lights around their neck, or the hidden elf. You have the glitter parallel, right? So it's very Christmassy, and
the light necklace and stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff. I remember for higher end sets, Topps used to have the ability on the card to look up exactly what game the memorabilia was from. They sure did. So what Dan's referring to, for those of you who don't know, you'd get a jersey card, and literally on the jersey there'd be a little hologram sticker from authenticated by Topps, and it would have a code on it, and you could go look up the code and it would tell you what game it was from or what play it was from if it's a piece of baseball or something like that. And that was pretty cool. One of my favorite things, and I think Brad mentioned it. Who did this? Anyway, I think it was this comment. But anyway, mentioned putting the item on the back of the card. So I have a really nice game used cleats or shoe card of Favre. And on the back, it's really cool. It's got a nice couple of close-up photos of the actual pair of shoes. Because obviously in the card, you don't get, the whole shoe. You get a little slice of it, and you're like, well, I don't even know what the shoe looks like. But it's cool on the back to see, like, the whole cleat, right? Or the pair of them, really, was on there. And and then they would say the date, like, yeah, these cleats were used on 9/16 at, you know, Lambeau Field, blah blah blah. Packers won 37-10, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like that did make it seem a lot more
Authentic.
yeah, and special, and um I keep those cards. The as a big Favre collector, those are ones that I want. When I get like a Favre Gaming's card, like from a modern product or something, and it says not used at any game or specific event, I just sell it. I have no interest in holding it because it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
So, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. So I'm hoping that they kind of heed that feedback and leave just fun, random memorabilia cards to fun products like the holiday product or something like that. Where honestly, if I pulled a Favre card out of a box like that and it was like an ugly Christmas sweater patch in it, dude, that would be awesome. I would keep that. I know he obviously didn't wear it and it wasn't used in a game and all that, but that's different. To me, that's different. Okay.
He might have worn it over at the Holmgrens for Christmas one year.
Sure. No, because it doesn't have the puke on it. There's no puke on it.
Yeah.
Let's see. We already did that one. I think we're caught up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for this. I've been waiting for it for a couple of years now with Topps. Essentially, it's Topps taking over. I know it's really Fanatics, but it's really Topps brands that are going to matter here.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. I also think they can probably keep the prices down a little bit easier than Panini because the most of Topps products, I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the Topps products are actually printed in the US. Versus most of Panini's products are obviously not printed in the US. It's an Italian-based company, first of all. So I think we're going to see, hopefully a little bit more of a lasso on some of those prices. But who knows? I mean, they could just raise the prices because they can too. So,
well, and that's the thing. Without as much competition now, it will be interesting to see what they do.
I think they're gonna. I think they still want to get new people into the hobby. They want the hobby to grow. You can't really do that by super jacking prices. That's kind of a bad strategy. What you do is you get those people in, and then you could hike the prices. Once they're in. But yeah, starting out that way is probably not a great move. So we'll see.
Not a great strategy.
Or if you're going to increase your prices, fine, but then add value, right? Like put better stuff in the boxes, like we were just talking about, or have different prizes or buybacks, or I mean, I love the big league baseball contest where you can get a big major league player to follow you on Facebook or something.
Yeah, it's a social follow.
Do stuff like that, and that's in what, a $35 box. I mean,
yeah,
nothing's cheaper than Topps Big League. So Topps has been doing those types of products still, within the last few years. So I still see them having lots of options for lots of different collectors, and price points and things like that. Joe says athletes really should demand to see the cards they are signing. Make sure they like the look. Honestly, they don't really care.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think they care.
They get an envelope in the mail with a check for $10,000 and a couple of sheets of stickers, and they sign them and send them back, and that's the end of it. Hell, some of the players don't even sign their own damn stickers.
Right.
So you're asking a lot for them to actually care about the card. No, I think when they do on-card autos, I do think they like to look at the card and enjoy, the experience of what they're signing, but they're not going to ask for anything like that with the sticker signings. Saw the numbers of the Topps basketball is a high print. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't it be? I mean, that makes sense. Look at Topps baseball. That's overprinted too, but Topps baseball still sells. I saw a lot of Topps baseball. So I think the basketball
print numbers are still lower than the baseball is. And there's not much hobby lost on the baseball flagship. So we'll see. It'd be fun to see if they put out like some special boxes and packs at Costco like they do with, Star Wars and things like that. It'd be fun to get some sports boxes that way where you could get kind of like they do the super box, right, for baseball.
Yeah.
We could start seeing that for basketball and football, and I like that stuff. I like variety in some of the boxes, and you get a collector pin of a player, like that's kind of fun. Like just trying some different things and adding some value. Nothing wrong with making a buck. We all know they're going to make sure they do that, but add some fun, add some value, and I think the rest of us are going to be okay with paying what we got to pay to get it, because we're enjoying ourselves as well. And we're seeing some added value. So that's my hot take. And with that, I think I want to end here. I got some other stuff I want to finish yet tonight. I got a Prime order I got to place.
Prime order.
Yeah, well, it's Prime Days today, and
aren't they like
20
midnight. Times a year?
No, this is the big one.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they are.
No, this is the one that definitely has the best deals. So,
I hear it at work all the time from our customers. Well, Prime Days is coming, so we're expecting a ton of value, and it has completely burned it out for me. Like, okay, there's a Prime Day every month. Like, it's not special anymore.
I don't think it's quite that often. How often is Prime Day? Because it's always been their like early October one is the one that they have 2 Prime Day shopping events per year. The official day takes place from July 8th through 11th and October 7th and 8th. Those are the 2.
Okay. All right.
So, but anyway, yeah, there was a few things in my cart that hit a Prime deal, so I want to make sure I grab those tonight. A couple of bigger items. I knew that Prime Days was coming, so I decided to wait and see if I could get a deal. So I did. I did just get some more card savers in too. I ordered the 2 tough ones again. I like those. They're the card armor. 2 tough card armor is what they're called. So I stocked back up on those too. Did not get a Prime Day deal on those, unfortunately.
I'm still working through the elites. They're working good for me.
Oh man, I burned through those so fast. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Dan says Prime Day is only good when the stuff you want is on sale. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I do. Is when it gets close to Prime Day, I just instead of just buying stuff I would normally buy, throw them in my cart, wait for Prime Day to hit, and then see if there is a deal on it, and then I order. I have a couple of items. I'm upgrading my mesh network, which obviously I need here. And then what was the other thing? I don't know. It was just a couple other things that were in my cart that also hit Prime. So pretty good deals too, like 30-40% off. So I'm going to grab them.
I've been thinking of a new extra wide curved monitor so I can get rid of a second one that I use here up on a shelf. So maybe I need to check that out.
I mean, yeah, if the deal isn't good enough, don't buy, right? Like it's not rocket surgery. But yeah, if it was something you've been watching and there's a decent deal on it, grab it. I think electronics are going to continue to go up in price with, where they have to come in from and the extra fees and all that stuff. So
yeah,
if they got something and it's in the warehouse and you can get a deal on it today, I don't know. I'm gonna grab a couple things I was looking for. So
sure,
that's the plan, but you got to grab it before midnight. So, all right. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think we hit the topics we had set forth for tonight. New card seller in the family. He's starting off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
gangbusters. Yeah, he's already sold like 3-4 cards his first day. He's like, nice. Well, Dad, I grabbed stuff I knew was gonna flip right away.
Well, that's makes him smart,
Which
so that's good.
he's not wrong. You know, Drake May rookie cards and Drake May patch cards. The surprising one was his very first one. It was a WWE wrestler. She was going by the name Duo Drop at the time, and it was numbered out of 299, but it wasn't a big name. But yeah, that was his first sale, and even he was like, "Yeah, I didn't think that would be the first one to go," but he's doing good with it. So
Well, good
he's
for him.
yeah, so he doesn't have a store yet. He's just using the basic seller options, Cardboard Crusaders out there. But he was listening again tonight. He came down and got the goat pen while we were live, and he's listing more cards out there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
It's good to see young entrepreneurs.
absolutely.
My daughter's not into cards, but she's in Scouts, and she had this goal of hitting $3,000 in sales and popcorn sales. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a lot. And she's at like $2,700 or something. It's crazy.
Woo.
We've been
Yeah, that's
busting.
a lot of popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, she's been setting up at different stores and selling and going around the neighborhood. And I mean, we've been helping her with it obviously a bit too. There's only so much a 10-year-old can do, but she's been working hard. So goes to show you out there, you want something, you got to go get it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to be a go-getter in this world.
Yep.
All right. Well, other than that, I would just say, remember, if you see the goat, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
I didn't even hear it. That was like a silent scream.
I know. I think I have the noise suppression on.
Yeah, you must. All right. Remember, you can't sell what you don't list. Remind Caleb of that. Obviously, he's working on his listing, so he gets that part.
Yeah.
But same for all of you. Try to join us every week, 8 Central Standard Time live. Charlie, some goats, myself, some topics, we're trying to do a better job of having some visual presentations. I think that's working out well, keeping us on track a little bit more too. If you're watching this recorded, that's great. Try to join live so you can be part of the chat. Discord's running along the bottom there. So make sure you jump into that. That's free to join, and we have a lot of good conversation there. And then, yeah, that's it. Till next week. See y'all.